Well, welcome everyone. We're here for the 50th Grand Prix of Formula Virtual, a league that was created on the 25th of May 2021. It's been an eventful year, a year and a couple of months, but we're very glad to be here for round 6 of season 5. Um, we're just preparing the lobby here for Spain. Um, I am Bufferino Phil on comms. I have with me Dave Alvin. Hello, Dave.
Hello,
Cameron.
hello. I'm
Dave.
here. Hello. Yes, it's such an honor to be a part of this 50th Grand Prix for Division One. I'm so happy. I could make it, but yes, it's very happy to see you all. Very happy to be taking part in this sort of comms role here, and been very on and off. But yes, I'm here. I'm very happy to be here, and hopefully let's have a good race around Spain.
Yeah, we had in Division 3 on Thursday, we had the first race of the weekend, won by Ryan Aluburi. I actually finished second, but in Div 2, who won the race there in Div 2, do you know?
I have zero clue if I'm being completely honest. I can try and quickly check.
I think Fraser
Um,
Fish. Oh no, that was Australia. Oh, it was Carlos Heinz. In his first race in Div 2, he won for Mercedes, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, we have an almost full grid for today here. I think we have 18 drivers. 18 drivers exactly. Um, we also have the last races for some drivers. We have Rick, who is going to be leaving us after this race, assuming he will join. Um, oh no, he's not joining. Never mind. My bad. He's not checked in, so guess not. So yeah, we'll just wait until we have the lobby set up. All right, we're gonna have a lobby restart because some people don't seem to be able to join the lobby, so we'll have to join the new lobby whenever the invite comes.
okay.
Small delay here. 1 minute, 1 minute over. Um, I don't think we need to restart the stream though, right? As long as we don't need the game,
Nope,
should be fine.
stream's alright. Stream's all fine.
All right, I'm in the new lobby. Uh, Everyone seems to be joining pretty quickly.
Josh, is that actually a graphic out for that? Because I've seen no graphic or anything on that
Uh,
on the actual grid, so I have no clue what it is. I know Nick De Vries is like eighth in his first ever Formula One race, which is like amazing for him. Like, definitely should be replacing Latifi with De Vries if that's what they're gonna do. But
Yeah, I also didn't see any graphic. I just saw that the first three were set, and then the last 3 or 4 or 5 are also set. But then in the middle, it's a bit of a it's a bit chaotic.
there is a provisional starting grid. Let me pull this up on
Oh,
Discord.
Josh, just send me the grid. There it is on commentators chat.
I got it in DMs as well. That's a pretty shaken up grid.
All right, so we have. Oh, you are looking at the chats, yeah. Anesh 420, welcome. Secret Powers 98, welcome. Josh Tomo 06, please focus on the driving. Josh, we know you can do that. Falcon format, welcome. Thus far, virtual take donations. Not through Twitch at the moment. Once we're in the lobby, we will also tell you how the bot will work. Boom, 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 boom.
All the bots speaking in the chat.
Oh, already?
Yeah,
Oh.
so that's how you can. So yeah, those are all the commands there.
I am pretty sure there are more available.
And I assume where it says X in those commands, you would put the position number. I would assume. If the task isn't broken, if the task is broken, we'll let you know.
Whoops. All right, so which team does not have 2 drivers? We're missing 2 Aston Martin drivers and 1 Williams and 1 McLaren. Let's see. All right, we're still waiting on the monster himself, who is in the Williams. Let me see. I think team we're missing Team Yassin, I think. Nova and just missing 2 drivers now. Let's hope we get underway as quickly as possible. We also do have a full qualifying with 18 drivers. Let me just double check the settings. Right? I think the drivers have been told to ready up. Let's get underway for the 50th Grand Prix of Formula Virtual at Spain. Also the last race before we go into a season break. And during this break week, we will have a Formula Virtual World Cup. What is that exactly? Well, our members who come from all the corners of the world will fight for glory, representing their nations, where they're from. I think last season the Irish team won of Sandstorm and Oisin, so they will be trying to defend the title next week again. But we're loading in, so let's jump into the Spain Grand Prix, round 6 of season 5. And now our tasks should also work. We currently have 11 viewers. Welcome. Niels, obviously his last lap is not going to work when no one hasn't set a lap yet.
And also, it uses the driver position, not the username. So wherever the driver's position is. So if you want Jax, you would have to put 1. If you wanted Tibbs, you would put 14.
Yeah. Makes sense. Oh, we just went up from 11 viewers to 19 viewers. Welcome all 19 of you, or 18 because I'm also watching it. Welcome all 18 of you. As we have the first drivers heading out onto the track, we have Nova on the wet compound. Okay, still in the pit. Let's see if he comes out. But yeah, first out is Emferg, the reserve driver for the Alpine team. Also out, we have Oisin, Josh Tomo, and KB, our Jamaican driver. Jetpack also now going out onto the lap. Let's see what they do. All right, TAS is also working. Great to see. Right, so I can tell you that the weather forecast for this qualifying session is 22% percentage of expected rain. I don't think we're going to be seeing rain, but who knows? And the race will be fully dry with, cloudy and slightly overcast towards the end of the race. But let's jump on board with the drivers to see their laps. As Josh Tomo is the first one on a hot lap. Oh, and he spins. That's unfortunate, as he has to watch out to not go into the track. We have the first purple sector from KB to 22.4 on his hot lap in the Ferrari. We have a bunch of drivers now on their first hot lap, trying to get a feeling of the track. But yeah, we have to remember Q1, the driver in 16th will be eliminated, so it's really just about getting a lap in, making sure you don't DNF before setting in a lap. KB and Oisin finishing up their laps as the first time on the board is a 17.8 by Oisin in the McLaren on softs, as KB goes around 1.5 seconds slower than that. I think he can improve on that. Jetpack slots into second, 3/10 of the lead. As Josh Tomo sets a non-competitive lap, but he's now going on his actual hot lap. Let's see what he does. For first sector, 22.4. That's around 2 seconds off Oisin in P1. As final flame in the Haas, and Niels Hendrick set their first times. So Josh Tomo finishing his first actual hot lap, which puts him in P6, which honestly should be enough for this first qualifying session. We're currently sitting on a 17.8. As Zap Ash, boys in the Mercedes, retires, and that's exactly what we were talking about with making sure you set a lap first, which he did, I think. He set, what did he set? He set a 119.2, so as long as anyone beats that time, they are through. As Jetpack realizes that he doesn't need to set any more laps and retire from the session. We currently have, let's try to follow the ones that haven't set a lap yet. We have Nova on the wets, which makes absolutely no sense because he's not going to be fast enough to beat
It makes
Zap.
perfect sense. Statistically, Zap is currently in P15. If Enfert goes faster, Zap goes P16. Nova sets a lap and therefore is on the timing sheets and therefore can just retire, saving him a set of softs.
Yeah, but the thing is, he still needs to beat Zap's time, and no way he's going to beat that time on the wets.
Well, Callum has a 119.8 and is above Zap on the timing sheet.
From my understanding, I think he still needs to beat the time, but let's see. Let's see what it does. We also see that KB has broken his front wing. Okay, but that must have been before. As Aiden Jones sets a 22.3 for first sector and a 29.7. First sector significantly more competitive than the second sector, but should be enough to get through. tip on 22.4, first sector at 29.9, second sector as he goes P8. A good lap by him. Reserving here for Alfa Romeo, as he just gets observed by Aiden Jones for P8. Alright, let's follow Nova's progress on his lap. Let's see what he does for the first sector. That's the thing, he's already 4 seconds off in the first sector. Let's see what the timing sheets show. Nova really struggling on those hards, which is to be expected. Let's see what the timing sheets show. 13th. Alright. Maybe I am gonna be proved wrong. I thought this didn't work, but I guess it's really just about setting a time. I guess after Jack and Troy set a lap, everyone's gonna retire then. As Troy goes fastest by half a second.
I dare say I know the go around on the intermediates or go around on the wet strategy. I know it quite well due to one or two drivers who use it quite frequently. You know who you are. And Nova saying he was going on that lap at blistering speed, and blistering speed that was Nova. Although you're in last now.
Oh, there we go.
I don't know why that's happened because Callum's still in front of Zap with a greater time, and so is KB.
Alright, so Nova will still have to go out then on a fresh set of tires and make sure he doesn't invalidate or have any spins, because then he's gonna be out. But we do have the first proper showing of Troy's pace up in front. We know he's also leading the championship by a significant margin, having one hell of a season. So let's see if someone can make a dent onto that lead or if he's going to extend it. As now there's an inactivity on track as everyone is in the pits. But yeah, all Nova has to do is beat 119.193, 119.8 or 119.2. I'm not quite sure how this timing sheet is gonna work. As here he comes out onto the track. Right, so maybe if someone now wants to try out the Twitch bot, just to see if it works. So just type in exclamation mark his last lap and then 2, 3, 4, whatever you want. his last lap won. Oh, there we go. All right, thank you, Josh. Yeah, Dave Alvin, I'm not quite sure why it didn't work on yours. Yeah, I guess we'll have to see how it works. But all right, let's go on board with Nova and see how he handled his first hot lap. So for the first sector, we're looking at a 22.4, 22.6 as a reference point of the elimination. So down into turn one, down to third, right, left, and now it's a very wide right where different people take different lines, but yeah, it's end of first sector. It's a 22.3, which is a pretty competitive time. Let's see if he invalidates it somewhere. Down into second gear. A bit of a hairpin, and now comes probably one of the more difficult corners of this track. A left-hander uphill with sausage curbs on both sides. Fairly easy to spin there, but he handles it pretty nicely. DRS open, 7th gear, 8th gear, down to the revised corner of the Barcelona circuit. I didn't see his. It's a 29.8, which should be good for elimination. Let's see if he invalidated at the last sector. A very difficult chicane with those yellow sausage curbs, or yellow, pretty big curbs that can really unsettle the car. DRS open, and that should be good enough for 11. It is 118.7. Nova, after his idea to go into the wets, did not work out, but he sends Callum into the danger zone. 16th. I think Callum is out of Q1 with the two Mercedes battling there for who continues. But Zap retired due to damage, so he's not going to be participating anyway. So this is going to be both Mercedes out in Q1. Dave Alvin, do you think that is expected? A bit of a surprise?
I mean, that's what happens when you crash early on with an uncompetitive lap time. You are just going to be out early on in the qualifying session. It's just something you got to try and avoid, especially with a circuit that goes this hard on the tires, especially through Sector 1. It is something to be expected. So you got to be careful. And Callum maybe just letting that slip out a little bit.
Yeah, fair point there with the tires. It's one of those circuits where if you have a pre-patch setup with very high tire pressures, it's gonna come back to bite you as Nova retires. And we are through to Q2. Thank you to everyone retiring early so we can try to make up the little delay we had at the start. All right, as you can see here now, we have a pretty diverse grid in terms of nationalities, as the Swede is P1 with a 117.2, and the British Callum is out with a 119.8. And his Norwegian teammate is out with a 119.2 due to damage. All right. This Q2 should be a bit more interesting as we will have 5 drivers eliminated, or 4, I should say. So we will see drivers pushing a bit more to get into that top 10. Callum says, I was just doing my best Jacobo impression. I'm not quite sure I get the reference, I'm afraid. Do you get the reference, Cameron?
That was the wrong button. Has Jacobo
Callum
crashed
saying he
out
was doing his best
recently?
Jacobo impression.
Callum,
Not sure if
I
that's a
remember
reference to...
Jacobo crashing out quite
Right?
recently,
Yeah.
but
But Callum, you're not driving anyway, so you can provide us an explanation if you so wish. As we have the drivers heading out on their first Q2 laps, I would expect the faster drivers such as Jack, Oisin, Troye to probably only do one lap if they manage to get it right. No invalidations, no mistakes. And then the rest will probably do 2, some of them maybe even 3 if they feel they are in the danger zone. I think the first one is Josh Tomo again, starting his hot lap, followed by the 2 Alpines of M. Ferg and Nova. And we have the first Sector 1 time on the board, 22.3 by Josh Tomo, as Nova does a 22.4. And Jetpack follows with a 22.2 and Tibbs with a 22.3. So currently Jetpack fastest on track, as Oisin beats it by 22 with a 22.1. I'm not going to say all of them because there's a bunch of times getting in there, but Josh Tomo now coming to the end of his lap. Let's see what the first time on the board is. From the Formula V veteran, we should say, who I think joined Alfa Romeo in Division 2, in Season 2, sorry, as he puts in a 18.7. Let's see what his race colleagues do, as his teammate crosses the line and puts in a 18.7. Very competitive time there by Tibbs, at least compared to his teammate, as Oisin beats both of that time by more than a second. Jetpack with a 128. Something must have happened on his lap, as Oisin and KB follow with a second and third position. Callum, thank you very much. I am pretty good. Cameron in the comments also said pretty good. Yeah, Cameron, what do you think actually in terms of the cutoff time for this Q2?
it's quite early on to say, Phil. I mean, if we're going off ramping up the pace from Q1, which we're already seeing with Jack going a 1:17.4, which was about Troy's lap time last time, we could definitely see something around a low 118, possibly being the cutoff time. So like a 118, essentially 118 dead. But it's early to say. I think too early to say, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, as we have a Red Bull spinning, I think Jack spun pretty much right next to his newly signed teammate Aiden Jones, 2007, who showed pretty good performances in Division 3 and got signed to Red Bull after the departure of Rom. Yeah, cutoff time of a low 118. I think that makes pretty much sense. I think it's going to be around between Aiden Jones' current time and KB's current time, somewhere around there, but we'll have to wait and see. People on on a hot lap. We currently have Final Flame with a 22.2 and a 29.4, which are two very competitive times, on par with Oisin almost, as he goes third with a 118.1. Not as good of a third sector there, as we have Nova, who is going on a lap now. Let's see what he does. Coming to the end of sector 1, putting in at 22.3. Oh, he's not gonna finish the. I don't think he's gonna finish the lap because he doesn't have enough fuel. He currently has 0.68 laps of fuel left in his tank, and I'm not sure this is gonna be enough. Could be, perhaps. Let's see if he's going to finish this lap. As Niels Hendrik has retired from the session, Nova is going to finish his lap, and he puts in a time good enough for P9 with a 119.1. But yeah, he lost around 5/10 in the last sector. I wonder if he ran out of fuel there. As Troy A starts his lap.
Phil, correct me if I'm wrong, but is the creator of TAS in the chat?
Sorry?
Is the creator of TAS, the thing that we use, in the chat?
In the chat? Yes, he is. Telemetry Thibaut is the creator of TAS. Welcome, Thibaut. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for your contributions to our league. We're glad to work with you.
Thank you for making such a great system for commentators, honestly. Like, it's been very, very, very useful during, like, sort of periods of, like, I wouldn't say dry racing, but you know what I mean. It's very useful. So, yes, thank you very much. You don't know me personally, but it's a great system, honestly. It's a miraculous how you do it, but keep it up.
All right, there it is. As we have Josh putting in a very, very good second sector with a 29.2, which is just 1/10 of the time that Troy A just set. I think the top 4, maybe 5, maybe even 6 should be good enough for should be safe from elimination. But I think probably from Aiden Jones down, they're all gonna have to go again. As we have Emferk on a lap, I think. No, he's preparing. He's on an out lap. No, he is on a lap, as he does a 22.5 as a first sector, which could be good enough as long as he nails the other 2 sectors. He goes a bit deep there. Very, very close to invalidation there, but let's see how he handles this sort of wide hairpin. But I think he's given up on his lap. He had a pretty big oversteer moment. He had to correct it and ended up going very wide and having to slow down quite a bit. But let's see if he goes again. No, he comes into the pits. Let's ride with Tibbs maybe, as he tries his best. Coming up to the end of sector 1, puts in a 22.3, which is a pretty competitive sector 1 time. In Guan Yu Zhou's Alfa Romeo. Coming up to the end of sector 2, 3/10 up on his own time, putting in at 29.7 for the second sector. Tips could jump KB here, perhaps even Aiden Jones, but I think it's gonna be KB. Let's see, across the finish line, and he jumps both of them into P9. Good lap there by Tibbs. Good lap. As we have Josh Tomo retiring in the pits. Nova on an out lap. Final Flame, I think, is coming into the pit soon. Yeah, I think we were right with our estimation of a low 18 being the cutoff time. 1:18.3, 2, 4, something like that. Josh Tomo crashed in the pits. Oh, Josh. Just as we were talking about a Formula V veteran, Josh makes a mistake that is not very veteran-like. Shame, but he might be through to... he might secure top 10, though, with his 17.7. It's a pretty good lap there. Weird bit of wall that sticks out, Gami. Yeah, we'll have to see when someone comes in to see that weird bit that sticks out. As Evan sets the first sector 1 time that in the 21.9, first one in the 22nd or 21st second. Trying to make sure he's safe from elimination. 29.4 second sector. Not as fast, but competitive. He could be jumping up into P3, P4. Let's see. Across the line, DRS open. Across the line, and it's P4. It's P4. Yeah, we also see the field getting pretty tightening up, let's say. Aside from Troy A in front by 4 seconds, 4/10 of a second, sorry. Into the 17s, you should be safe, as we have Jetpack going on his last hot lap. As we have an Alpine off the track. Thank you. 22.1. Good first sector for Jetpack. As Aiden Jones has a 22.4 for the first sector. And KB does a 22.2. Now the battle for Q1 advancement really getting a bit tighter, as Jetpack was 4/10 up on his time, but he seemed to go out on my screen, but that seems to be just lag. Jetpack on a pretty good lap here, with a 29.2 as second sector. This could be enough for P3 maybe. Let's see what he does. It's P2. Great lap there by Jetpack, as Aiden Jones does not make it out of Q2 with a best lap of 1:18.2. We look towards Nova, who does not seem to be, is not on a competitive hot lap. That is it. Tibbs making it into Q3 on his reserve race, let's say, stepping in for Gleaming's absence. The two Alpines, unfortunately, are knocked out of Q2. They will start next to each other. And the Red Bull of Aiden Jones out in P11. And Niels Hendrick, who did not set a lap. And there it is. All right, so we have the Swede Troy again in first, this time up by 4/10 instead of 5/10. And we have Niels Emferk, Nova Ionic, Aiden Jones out in Q1 by Pace, and Josh Tomo out in Q2, and Josh Tomo out in Q2 by DNF at the pit entrance, unfortunately. 9 drivers now fighting for pole. Let's see. As a reference, Troy did a 17.0 there. I would not be surprised if we see a pole in the 16.7 maybe. Dave Alvin, what do you think?
I mean, it's Troy. He can pull anything out of the bag. But yeah, if we're going off his previous improvement, I would say somewhere for Q3, somewhere around a 117.5. If that gas pedal was put down fully, which I assume it is. But no, shame to see both Alpines out, of course. One reserving for Verify, who couldn't be here. But no, sad to see both Alpines out in Q2. Won't be too much of a hand in terms of constructors, but good to see that Tibbs on his first drive is into Q3. So congratulations on that.
Certainly. So you seemed pretty certain that Troy was going to get pole. Who do you think is fighting for, let's say, P2 and second row or third row?
Well, we don't have Troy's teammate of Forzan, here. So I think it would just be a single Haas up at the front. Jack, Eugene, maybe it could be it could be pretty shaken up in that bottom 4 other than Troy.
Yeah. And it's going to be interesting to see who can really pull one out of the bag. We could be in for a few, not surprises, but some pretty good performances. I think, as we saw, the field was pretty tight from P2 all the way to P7 or 8. Most of them separated by, I don't know, around 3 or 4 tenths. As the Williams spins, the Williams of Jetpack spins right in front of the Ferrari going on his hot lap. A bit of a near miss there, but we ride with KB on his hot lap in the Ferrari. Let's see what he does. As we have Oisin with a 22.1, KB 22.3, but each shooks are basically going equally as fast as Oisin in Sector 1. As we have a yellow flag The Ferrari of Evan, seemingly waiting for his teammates' toe down the main straight, it seems. Good team tactics there from the Ferrari boys. Oisin setting the first lap. It's a 17.6, which I think is slower than his Q2 lap. And his rivals putting in their own laps as Jack comes to the end of his lap. Let's see if he can put it on P1. Yes, he can with a 17.3. As Evan, still getting a toe from his teammate, seems to last all the way down to the end of the DRS straight. As his teammate swoops to the left, gives him room. Let's see what Evan can do with the slipstream. Well, in the first sector, he did the best first sector of the session. 29.6 for the second sector, not as good, but could be enough for around P3, P2. It's P2. Good lap there. Good teamwork too from the Ferrari boys there. Also interesting to see P5 and P6, so KB and Tibbs, separated by 0.04 of a second, which is basically nothing. And then the top four separated by 0.5, not as close, but let's see what the Haas boys have in store. As Troy seems to be on his way to pole position with a 16.8. Once again, that 4.5 gap to P2. And his teammate, Final Flame, the American driver, in P6. Cameron, I'm sorry. Can you take over? Nature calls me. Just a second.
It seems that nature has called for Phil. You're going to have to put up with subpar comms for about however long Phil's gone, which can be for a while. But hello, lads. Evan is gone into the pit lane somehow. I mean, that's going into the pit lane. The monster saying, "Bro, I would have got pole." I mean, you had a great performance last weekend. I'm consider. I don't want to say anything in case it's happening, but has Red Bull got you in the works or something, or has the A team, not Red Bull? I don't remember what team you raced for last week. I thought it was Blue, so that's why I said Red Bull, but I don't think it was because I remember Rom and Jack. It was Blue though, wasn't it? They gotta stop me. But Troy, yeah, great lap. Exactly what we expected, meeting up to those expectations of very quick. So very impressive there from Troy. So yeah, the monster Alpine side me confirmed. Oh, you've got a seat in Division 1. Pog. It's nice to see you in Div 1. You had a great drive in Australia, so congratulations. Phil is back. I'll leave you with him.
Right, I'm back. Everyone seems to be in the pit. Jetpack still in P9, 13 seconds off pole position. Yeah, his problem seems to have been in Sector 3, where he's 12 seconds slower than his nearest rival. Dave, any predictions for, let's say, P2, 3, 4.
What were they, or what?
What? Oh, as Jack spins trying to warm up his tires. Not sure you got that on stream. Oh,
I
yes, you
did.
did. Not the best look for the Red Bull driver, but he's kept it out of the wall.
Tactical, so...
Yeah, I was gonna ask predictions for who's gonna join Troy on the front row and who's gonna sit behind them.
I believe I said at the end of Q2, I said Jack fills this last slot on the front row, and then Evan, Oisley, and Ids in some order, but if I had to put them in an order, probably Oisley, Evan, Ids, but it's currently Evan, Oisley, Ids, so I mean, I'm not too far off.
Yeah. I mean, Oisley and Evan could still swap. It's relatively easy to find 80 thousandths of a second. For it, he's gonna have to find around 2.5 tenths. It's a bit more difficult, but as we have now Jack going on his maybe last hot lap. He does have 2.5 laps of fuel in his tank. Maybe he's planning on going on 2 laps. Let's see what he does for the first sector. On his previous lap, he was actually faster than Troy A by 3 thousandths of a second, and he goes even faster.
Chat has just pointed out that Final Flame is on a 118 dead, and that isn't even rounding. That is a 118.000. So yeah, we can take time and appreciate 118 dead.
Jack is on a very, very good lap. He's on par with Troy A's first 2 sectors, but on his previous lap in the last sector, he lost around 3 tenths. Let's see what he does on this lap. Could he snatch pole from the Haas driver here? Oh! He cannot by 17 thousandths of a second. Still very, very good effort by Jack there. It's Schuchster starting his lap. Tips making personal bests on the first 2 sectors. As KB has had a problem. I think he's invalidated. And he also does not have more fuel, so that is it for KB's Q3. We have Oisin improving in Sector 1. Final Flame also improving. Let's see who will be on the second row. As Evan puts in a purple Sector 1. Oisin puts in a purple Sector 2. This could be tied for second, maybe third, maybe even first. I don't think so, but let's see what Oisin does at the end of his lap. It's P3. P3. It seems to be that last sector where Troy really gains on his rivals, as Final Flame finishes his Q3 appearance in P5. 1,000 away from the second row, as Evan improves his time and makes that 1.5 tenth gap. As we're just waiting for Jetpack to put his actual time in. 22.1, 29.2 for sectors. I think he goes P5. He did a 117.5. He did exactly the same time as Final Flame in the Haas. As I said, very, very tight field here, but interesting. Okay, so Jetpack starts in front of Final Flame. This is the starting grid for the 50% race around Spain. Troy and Paul by 1.5 tenths, followed by Jack, Oisin and Evan in the second row, Jetpack and Final Flame in the third row, Ichukster and KB in the fourth row, and Tibbs and joined by his teammate in the fifth row, rounding up the top 10. 2 Swedes, 2 Brits, and 2 Dutchies, I think. Yeah, I guess your prediction was right, Cameron. Oisin and Evan in the second row. Ichukster losing out to the Williams of Jetpack and the Haas of Final Flame, though. Very a pretty team diverse starting grid. We have the 2 Haas's and the 2 Ferraris, but then all the other drivers are from different teams. As we prepare ourselves for a dry race around Spain, safety car is on. Standard. It's not the easiest track to crash out on, since the walls are pretty far, but there are a few dangerous corners. The one in sector 2, the left-right-hander uphill with the sausage curbs on both sides, is probably the most trickiest corner on the circuit. But all the corners are a bit on the edge. You have the last chicane where you're not going to DNF, but you could spin if you are too eager on the throttle on exit, or if you just take too much of the sausage curbs. As Jack ruins one of the Rolex boards. But okay, let's look at the tires that each of our drivers is on. Alright, so we have mediums for top 4, hards for Jetpack in 5th, and then softs for KB in 8th in the Ferrari, and hards for Niels and Ash Boys in 14th and 15th respectively. Interesting, but here usually, Dave, do you know strategy? The usual one stop, right?
Usually one stop mediums to hards. We don't see the soft compounds. Interesting KBs running off on those off the start. Anticipating a safety car, just be careful. Keep your eyes on KB. Definitely we're going to be becoming a mobile chicane in the maybe not the first lap, but the laps following through sector 1.
Yeah. Maybe he's really just expecting for a good getaway off the grid. Safety car coming out in sector 1, and by then he'll hopefully be in P5. Alright. Dave Alvin, let's have a good race here. Let's hope for as little safety cars as possible. All the drivers on the grid. Spain Grand Prix, 50th FV Grand Prix. Thank you for being here with us. We have 21 viewers, 22 viewers now. The lights are on. The lights are out. Oisin gets a drive-through penalty for a jump start, but Troy gets away well. Oisin's on his back. Jack on his right, but Final Flame has a very good start. Evan has an even better start and is into P2 by turn 1. Oisin tries the outside, but loses out to Evan and Jack. KB in 6th, and Oisin, I think there was a lag problem, but as Oisin goes to the back of the grid, the 2 Alfa Romeos side by side. Josh makes the move on Tibbs. KB with the softs up to 5th. The two Alpines having a pretty good start up into 8th and 10th. Jetpack on those hards, terrible start, down to 9th from 5th. The two AlphaTauris trying to follow through with the hard runner in front. As Oisin is now at the back of the grid with a drive-through penalty. Could not have a worse start. As Final Flame and KB fighting here. KB trying to make the best of his soft tires while they last, but can't make the move right now. Josh Tomo, pretty good start, up into P6 from 10th. As Troye trying to pull out that one gap lead, as Aiden Jones, I think, Aiden Jones and Oisin coming into the pits. Not quite sure why, but Aiden Jones changing a front wing and Oisin serving his drive-through. As we have Jetpack on Amferk, but Jetpack knows he's not gonna make the move on those hards. Stays behind the two Alpines, who pursue the two Alfa Romeos in front of them, with Josh putting pressure on KB. Jack also on the back of Evan now through Sector 2. DRS not enabled yet. Jack tries to make Evan defend. Evan says no thank you. As we have now the two hard runners of Jetpack and Niels Hendrik having a bit of a battle here. But for them it's gonna be keep it on track with these slightly cold hards before they really fall into your hands and you can start pushing them. As Troye sets second fastest lap. As we have a spinner, it's Mferk, who has spun on the last corner, and the Alpine driver gets back on the track, facing the right direction, and moves on. No safety cars though, no big crashes. We move. As the closest battle on the track is for P3, or is for P2, I should say, between the Ferrari of Evan and the Red Bull of Jack. As KB softs seem to have started to drop off, as Josh on the mediums makes ground on his, as Nova has retired. Could this be a safety car? At least virtual. It is a virtual safety car. As Nova has terminal damage at the end of Sector 2, the white right-hander. What did you see from your point of view, Dave?
Lost it out of what's the 90 degree to under the big 2 on the map. As VSC's ended, few drivers picking up drive-throughs, but just losing it out of that corner and just going straight into a barrier.
Yeah. On the mediums, and virtual safety car has ended as Jetpack gets tips a bit off guard there and makes the beautiful move round the outside into turn 1. Jetpack into 6th on those hards. As KB has now pitted and gone from soft onto the hard, he comes out next to the Mercedes of Zap Ash Boys, but we know coming out of the pits those tires are incredibly cold, as KB makes sure to keep it on track, and Ash Boys into 13th as his teammate is up into 10th. A pretty good battle as we have the Mercedes of Zap Ash Boys in the middle of the road after a spin at the end of Sector 1, I think. Exactly. Alright, yeah, as I was saying, a pretty good battle brewing here for P2, P3, P4. Final Flame and Josh trying to make ground on Jack and Evan. And here a battle between compounds with Jetpack, Tibbs with amazing straight line speed, cruising past Jetpack on the straight. Jetpack does not really try to defend much, as Tibbs is up into 6th. But yeah, as I was saying, a pretty good battle as Emferk pits. Pretty good battle here between the two hard runners of Jetpack and the Alfa Romeo of Tibbs. And Niels Hendrik trying to join this battle here. As we have Oysen spinning on the right-hander as KB goes past. Easy overtake. Oysen having a dreadful race here. Drive-through. Penalty. A spin. And a lag problem, it seems, in Sector 1. We already have our first drivers picking up some warnings, as we have a yellow flag between the two. Itchukstra having a spin right before the chicane. KB and Oysen also having a bit of a fight. As we have Jetpack and Tibbs once again. Turn 1, a battle there as Emferk has another spin. Tibbs and Jetpack fighting though. Jetpack on the outside with those hards. Tibbs does well to defend. Jetpack is not afraid of grass. Tries a dive bomb into the left-hander. Clean racing. Good aggressiveness by Jetpack. Pretty good pace on those hards actually. As Tibbs knows he has to defend as much as possible on those mediums. At the front, Troy starting to put that dominating control on the lead, slowly extending the gap to Jack. As Jack's pursuers Evan, Final Flame and Josh start to get closer and closer to each other, as Josh is now in the DRS in DRS range, as Emferk I think has spun again. As Oysen sets the fastest lap of the race on those on those mediums. As Itchuks making moves on Callum for P9 into the end of Sector 1. Itchuk eats on the outside, Callum on the inside. This could go either way, as Callum tries the outside at the left hairpin. Itchukstra has the way better line though and gets the position and the overtake done into P9. Good battle there by the two. And we have round 3 of Jetpack versus Tibbs onto the main straight. Tibbs with around 10% ERS, Jetpack with 40%. Jetpack deciding between inside, outside, decides not to go for the overtake there. And Tibbs survives another lap. Oh no, there's lag there. They're side by side. Jetpack on the outside, Tibbs on the inside. Good racing here between the two. The Swede and the Dutch, number 21. And the Williams driver seems to have gotten the best of that battle. Gets a bit of... Oh my god. I'm sorry. I'm getting a bit of lag here. So it's getting a different graphics. Pretty good racing here though, Dave, right?
No, it's brilliant. Absolutely great.
As we also have Josh now and Final Flame both getting the benefits of DRS. As Tips overtakes Jetpack for sorry, I'm getting a bit of lag, so it's not as the Alpine has another spin, and Oisin makes the move on Callum into the top 10. Here the battle for P4 between former teammates at Alfa Romeo, between Josh and Final Flame. Both academy drivers for Alfa Romeo in the Charroux F2 times of FV. Let's see how this battle turns out. As Jack seems to have made quite a bit of time on Troy, considering he was around 2 seconds off. He gained around 4/10 in this last lap. Maybe we could see a bit of a battle at the front. As Jack, yeah, was the fastest driver on that last lap. As the two Alpines are now out of the race, as Mferk and Nova both retire. Not the best of outings for the Alpine team. As Ichusha changes his front wing and pits in P14. A battle between KB and Callum here, though. As Callum gets DRS here, but seems a bit far to make a proper move. Actually, in terms of strategy, we should be getting to the point where the mediums start to drop off, right? As Evan seems to have lagged out of the session, and Final Flame pretty much gets a gifted position. As this is gonna be controversial. I think the AI of Evan Sang has just had a moment with Final Flame and sent Final Flame into the gravel at the left uphill hander. Surely going to be reported a few flashes of Jacopo D-Block Australia moment there for FV connoisseurs. As Jack is very close.
Sorry, go on.
Go on.
I don't know what they can report about that, though, if I'm completely honest, because it's an AI.
The question is, why was he on AI? As we have a safety car.
It was AI because disconnection, correct?
I guess that probably. I also saw Evan has now joined back again, so I would assume so.
Yeah, it was AI because disconnection. But safety car is out.
But yeah, so safety car now though. Medium runners will probably say thank you very much, as Tibbs and Final Flame both pit for fresh hards, probably trying to go to the end. And the top 6 are now at a bit of a disadvantage though. Let's see what Jetpack and Niels will do on those 11 lap old hards. What would you do, Dave, here actually? If you were Jetpack and Niels, would you pit?
One hard compound.
Yeah, 11 lap old hards.
There's more power to get out of those hards yet, so keep them. I'd stick to my original strategy here.
Do you think fresh mediums will make it to the end?
Yeah, but it's not the quickest way to go because you're going to lose time due to degradation.
Do you also have Troy A in the gravel on your screen?
Troy is in the gravel.
Something happened there. He's
No,
lost out to Jack, Josh, and Evan. As Jack pits, Josh also pits, Evan also pits, and Troy A also pits. I wonder what happened there. Was there contact with Jack or just cold mediums?
I doubt. I assume it's some issues with the tires underheating, freezing, or overheating.
As Jetpack and Niels stay out, Jack seems to Jetpack and Jack both trying to get the lead. Let's see what the game says about that. Alright, Jack gets the lead. Red Bull Williams oh no, Jetpack gets the lead. Alright. No, Jack gets the lead. There seems to be a bit of confusion there, but Troy A is now P6 from the lead, as everyone on track is now on the hards. Oldest 12 laps and youngest basically fresh hards just pitted. As Dave, I think, has...
Oh, the lobby's just ended.
The lobby has ended.
It has just ended. Everyone has left the session.
Oh no.
The lobby has just ended.
Alright. So we will have to do...
That's a bug.
Yeah, we will have to do... Alright, so from lap 13, we will do a 25% race.
After the pit stops, I assume, right?
With lap 13 grid. Alright.
So was that after the pit stops? When everyone was behind the safety car in the queue? Okay. If not, I would have given... So I'm the only one that lived, apparently. So I'm the one who's still in the lobby. But everyone else has left the session.
I'm also still in the lobby, unfortunately. So,
Wait, are we all in... I think it's put us all in different lobbies. Wait, has the... Oh, wait. Has the game gone down for maintenance? Let me check. No, game might have gone down for maintenance.
Isn't it a fire stone? Oh no, it's level 50. You need to be level 50.
I don't see anything saying that the yeah, I don't see anything saying that the servers are down for maintenance.
I'm gonna throw another one. Nothing is spawned for me, no like legendaries. it's at Ultra Space, I'm a little bit...
Has PSN maybe died? I doubt it, because I'm still here.
Yeah, but I have 3 Pokeballs and that's it. I won't catch
Whatever just happened, happened.
Yeah. Can you find the legendary stronghold? I'm busy. 2 gigabytes of RAM. Max is out at 5 FPS.
Very confused there.
I've got the harvest.
Tass has...
Oh no, yeah, I gotta tell people.
Tass has gone back to Q3.
They should have brought back the goated pair of Bottas Hamilton. Why is Mick Schumacher?
I think there is the... Is the Tass guy still in our chat?
He's in the... Yeah, actually,
I think he is. Because the TAS has reverted to Q3, so maybe, I don't know if that was like a manual override or what, and if so, cheers. But yeah.
Yeah, he's in the server, but let me add commentators to the... Yeah, we now have a Discord chat with him, so...
Oh,
should...
Pog.
Maybe you should have promoted Piastri, bro.
Please don't use the task chat for chat, just for important things, yeah?
Yeah, I know that.
Okay, right. I'm in though. I'm in the new lobby. I'll just try inviting people. Right, so Mferk, the monster. No, who was it? Mferk. I think it was Aiden Jones that retired, right?
I don't remember.
Nice. What?
All right, let's go into spectator mode. Good. The stream is still going, yeah?
Why has Jack just invited me?
Never mind. All right. Right, so TAS has automatically gone to Q3. Perfect. The stream is still going. All right. Okay, good. We're almost ready. Sorry for that. Not quite sure what happened there. As soon as the safety car came out and Jack and Jetpack were fighting for the lead, there seems to have been a glitch. But let me tell our viewers what we will start with. Wait, let me just handle a few things.
You got to overtake Ollie Lewis. He's on like episode 80.
Right, so viewers, you're probably wondering, where are we going to restart? We're going to restart with a 25% race. The weather will be the same. The grid will be as soon as people come out of the pits. Drivers will have 3 tire choices, so we will have Jack in front, Jetpack second, Niels third, Josh Tomo fourth, Evan fifth, Troy sixth, Tibbs seventh, Final Flame eighth, KB ninth, Zap Ash Boys 10th, Oisin 11th, Callum 12th, and Ichuksha 13th. The DNF'd cars will not be allowed to rejoin. So DNF'd are Aiden Jones, M. Ferk, and Nova Ionic. So the 2 Alpines and the 1 Red Bull. We have to kick Aiden Jones out. All right, I think we are ready again. 13, no. Who are we missing? The other Red Bull, good. All right. Williams, all good. Aston Martin didn't have. I think we're ready to go. %, race, so this is going to be 17 laps. Right, free tire choice. It's probably gonna, although 17 laps, Dave. What is the strategy there? Softs and then mediums, or?
You gotta remember, with race percentage, the tires also scale. So the softs, where they would go about 5 laps optimum in a 50% race, here they'll probably only go about 3. So it's sort of the same strategy, really. But we'll see a few shakeups, probably.
Will also be interesting to see if anyone will be able to keep Troy behind, as he's starting in P6. Obviously, fresh tires for everyone. Let's see. Taz should also be now on. Will soon return to race mode. Okay, that didn't take too long. Good. Nice to see our members follow our instructions and try to make this as easy of a restart as possible. So the 50th and a half Grand Prix of FV Season 5, Round 6 of 12, Spain. All right, we'll start in 26 seconds. All right, Dave, any expectations here? People gonna be more aggressive, less aggressive? What do you think?
I'll probably be more aggressive with the strategy, of course, it's shorter race distance. The tires don't scale as completely, as directly as I said, but we should definitely see some people driving a bit more aggressively and a bit more entertaining as well. So, as well as a very mixed up grid that we're dealing with now, it should hopefully provide some interesting dynamics.
Yeah, we'll probably also have a bit of restart frustrations, let's call it that. Maybe people going for moves that they shouldn't be going for. All right. Taz has restarted. Thibaut, thanks for the restart. It seems to have worked pretty much perfectly. Thanks for that.
Thank you, Thibaut. Sorry, were you going to say something else?
No, I was gonna start talking about soft aside from Troy and Oisin. It could be that softs to mediums is a default strategy, and those two medium runners are just going to do the opposite. I would assume, at least. As mentioned before, weather is the same.
Yeah, no, I honestly don't know how people like code things like tasks. So I have a massive respect for developers and stuff who code stuff like this because like I know a bit about software engineering and it's not easy. So that's why I'm a bit in awe.
Yeah. All right. We have all the drivers getting into their grid slots. Zap Bash Boy seems to have missed his grid slot and was reset to the standard, but we go again. 5 lights on and 5 lights off, and here we go. Jack in first, Jetpack second. Jack has a incredibly good start. Jetpack has an incredibly bad start as Josh goes down the inside of him, and the AlphaTauri of Neil Sendrick seems to be clean. Evan third, Neil second. No incidents, as Jetpack seems to be the biggest loser of that first turn as he goes down into fifth. Final Flame and Troye both losing positions into 8th and 10th respectively, as Jack does his best to pull off a big gap. All right, everyone seems equally distant from each other. We'll ride on board with Troy, the fastest driver on track in the last race. Let's see what he can do on those mediums. As he's followed closely behind by Oisin, actually, as they both use their ERS to safeguard their position. As we have Zap Ashboy trying to make a move on each Shukstra, does not quite make it stick. Good defense by each Shukstra there, just giving him enough space, but not enough for a dive bomb. As Final Flame sets the fastest Sector 1. As Troy now getting to the back of Tibbs in the Alfa Romeo. Probably gonna go down the inside into this turn. Tibbs gives him quite a bit of space, almost leaves the door open for him, but has the inside line for the next one, and Final Flame has retired from the session. It's a virtual safety car, as Troy has to give position to Tibbs due to the yellow flag, as Josh, Jetpack, and KB all come into the pits, none of them picking up speeding in the pit lane penalties.
It is a medium to soft race, by the way.
It is, right? As we see KB going onto the hards while Jetpack and Josh go onto the mediums. From the outside, this seems like a good decision, right?
For who? KB?
No, for the people who pitted now under the virtual safety car.
I think KB's in the best position here. I mean, I think even the softs could go a lot longer. If it's saying go mediums to softs could definitely go longer than what they have on Josh Tomo and Jetpack's car, and going straight
Yeah.
onto those mediums, it's going to be a push for them. I think KB is in the better situation here.
I think that's a fair point, honestly. And he also gets to keep a new set of mediums if there's a safety car in like 4 laps time or something. Let's see when the virtual safety car is back, because it's a green flag as DRS is enabled now, and we go racing again. Troy onto the back of Tibbs, now also with DRS, since it wasn't a full core safety car. Shouldn't be too difficult of a move with the DRS assistance, as Niels also makes ground on the leader Jack, as Troy goes past the Alfa Romeo of Tibbs. Oisin doing his best to do exactly the same, but we'll have to wait for the next DRS opportunity. Also interesting now, because Josh will have the freest track in front, and he can either push as hard as he wants, or do his best to manage his tires to make them go to the end, as Oisin makes a move on Tibbs.
I think Josh is forced to do the latter because, as I said, if he doesn't want to make another pit stop, it's going to have to be time management game. That's the game he signed up for.
Sorry to interrupt, but as Oisin went a bit deep, Tibbs tried to do the switchback on him, but Oisin does well to defend the position and gets into P5. Sorry, go on.
Oh no, I was done. I was on the overtake. I saw it all happen, so I was planning to finish.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the Tibbs had a bit of oversteer there, but does well and makes some good corrections to keep it on track, as he's now under threat from Ichuktra in the AlphaTauri. Probably one of the best AlphaTauri races we've had in a while, with both Niels and Ichuktra fighting here for some very good point positions. And let's keep an eye out on the times that Josh is doing. So Josh and Jetpack in the 120s, while Jack and Niels in the 119s. So the softs are clearly still the fastest tire. If we want to compare, the fastest driver on track though is Troy in the Haas, lapping basically around 7/10 quicker than anyone else on track. We'll probably be on the back of Jack fairly soon. But we now have the AlphaTauri of Ichuktra making moves on Tibbs, who has no weapons against the DRS. The DRS seems to be pretty powerful here. So one of the longest straights on the calendar, as the Mercedes of Callum pits on lap 6 and goes onto the mediums. Yeah, I think this is probably the standard strategy, pitting on lap 6 and then going around 10 laps with the mediums.
If you started on softs, you pit now.
Yeah. We now have the closest battle on track between the top two, Jack and Niels, both on those 5-lap-old softs. Let's see what happens here. Could become a pretty good lap here. Oh, but Niels has a bit of a needs to make some big corrections there at the exit of the last turn and loses out. We'll have to wait for the next lap. As the Alfa Romeo of Tibbs pits, does not get a penalty, probably going on to the mediums. Let's see if he can come out ahead of Callum on the Mercedes as his teammate and Jetpack drive past. And once again, let's take a look at the times. Troye is still the fastest, but now Josh and Jetpack lapping faster than Evan Sung, for example, or Oisin. So those softs really starting to drop off.
Can I just say one thing? Hi, Matty. I see you in the chat. I am here, I swear.
Right, yeah. Please keep an eye on the Twitch chat if there's any interactions there. But we now have the two leaders pitting. Let's see, Evan Sung follows them in, and Troy gains the lead. He'll now have to put in a pretty fast times for the next around three laps maybe, coming in on lap 11, then doing 5 or 6 laps on the softs. Let's see, as Itchuksa continues on the softs, probably hoping for a safety car. As both Jack and Niels trying to warm up their tires. Let's see if they both get through clean through sector 1. Seems like it. As they now come out ahead of Josh by 2.1 seconds. Without a safety car, I don't think Josh and Jetpack can fight for the lead, maybe even podium. With around 9 more laps to go. As Jetpack has accumulated 3 warnings, meaning he's got a 3-second time penalty probably for corner cutting. With regards to warnings, Oisin has 1, and Evan Sung has 1, and Zap Ashboys has 1. As the AlphaTauri of Itchuksa pits and comes out behind his teammate and all the other drivers. Aside from the Mercedes, let's see if there's a bit of a battle here at the pit exit. KB gets comfortably in front of him, and Tibbs now in 10th behind Itchuksa. Right, so we now have if you quickly switch the gap to leader, just look at the pit stops. A pit stop is what, around probably 20 seconds, I would assume, around
I can tell
18,
you.
19. We now have Jack and Niels Hendrick on those fresh mediums, 16 seconds from Troy and 12 from Oisin, meaning that when Troy stopped, he'll have to gain around 2, 4, maybe 5 seconds on both of these guys.
Well, I can
Let's
tell
see
you.
if they're...
Go on.
Yeah, go.
The average time spent in the pit is 20.135 seconds here on this circuit.
The task spot's great. Alright, so 20 seconds. So he's probably gonna have to come in either this lap or next lap to have time to make up those seconds. Let's see. Because it also seems like Jack and Niels Hendrick are not really keen on fighting each other. They know they first need to cover off both the Haas and the McLaren to actually be fighting for the win. Smart tactics by both of them. In terms of fuel, maybe. Oh, it doesn't appear. In terms of overtakes, though, KB with 16 overtakes and Josh Thomo with 10. A fun fact for you. In terms of
Ocean's in the pit.
Oisin in the pits. All right. In terms of the last lap, Jack did a 1:19.4 and Troy did a 1:19.9. So Jack now starting to gain around 5/10 per lap. With a 15-second gap to the leader. As Josh and Evan are now slowly creeping into that a pit time gap. Slowly creeping into that podium position.
I mean, I got to props it to Josh. I mean, he's done pretty well to minimize the damage, but where it's going to hurt the most is going to be in the closing laps, is because the deg is going to make him lose a lot of time. So unless he's managed that, then he's a bit screwed. But to be fair, he could have lost a lot more positions than he has now. And when Troy comes into pit, Josh should get that position just. So Josh should go back to P3, which was about where he was. Where he was on the race start. Well, it says it was P4, but I think it was P3. I don't remember.
Yeah, exactly. And we're also seeing Oisin now, who's pitted, as the Williams has a big moment in front of him. Jetpack almost spinning there. Does well, though, as they are side by side now, with Oisin with DRS, and gets the move done over the Dutch Williams driver. But yeah, I was saying, Oisin now on the softs has done he's done a 1:1:36, but obviously that is also including the pit stop, so we'll wait for the next lap. Although on that last lap, Troy only lost 1/10 to Jack. As Troy comes into the pit, takes out the bollard at the pit entry. Important not to get a speeding pit lane. Alright, this is the moment that is going to decide the race. 4 laps to go. The Haas of Troy comes into the pits. Has an okay pit stop as Jack and the AlphaTauri of Neil Hendrick go past. How many seconds adrift is he going to come out in? Around 4.3 seconds. As the other soft runner of Oisin sets the fastest lap. No, it Schukstra does actually. Fastest lap with 1:20.1. No, sorry, 1:19.4. As we have Evan Sung and Josh Tomo fighting for P4, as it seems to me at least that the podium positions are settled, or are they? Oh, Tip seems to have had a moment down in P10. It's not a DNF though. Still brings it home. As we have a pretty big fight here between Oisin, Evan, and Josh for that P4 I was talking about. As we have a battle as finally the AlphaTauri of Neil Hendrick overtakes Jack at the end of the main straight with that DRS. putting Jack between him and Troy, who's now 3.4 seconds behind him. Dave Alvin, I think we could be looking here at a pretty tense finish, honestly.
I think we are. I mean, not too many laps left in it now, and there's a lot of battling going on.
Oisin trying to make a big move on the Alfa Romeo of Josh there. But Josh using pretty good tactics there. He also gets DRS from the car ahead to defend himself, as Oisin takes a very, very outside line there. It's also a pretty difficult corner to take the inside line for, because you need to turn in quite a bit if you take the inside line, and spinning becomes a bit too easy there. It's going to be quite important for Josh here to stay within the DRS of the Ferrari in front to be able to defend, which he did not, as the McLaren goes past the Alfa Romeo for P5. Looking back to the front, as we have a Mercedes spun around, which is Seb Ashboys. The two Mercedes pair up to finish outside of the points. But let's switch our attention to the front, which is, I think, it's gonna be at. As Troy now within 2.2 seconds of the leader. Jack seems to be struggling to keep up with Niels Hendrick. Both of them struggling with ERS management. They all are, though, honestly. As we have Jack now on the back of Niels Hendrick with DRS, down the inside into turn 1. Niels Hendrick tries to stick it around the outside. Bit of a different line, but I think Jack has gotten the position there. As Niels tries to make it back, but does not work. Troy joining the party here. 3 lap-old softs against 8 lap-old mediums. They're all pretty much struggling with ERS. It's gonna be about that last lap. Jack probably gonna be pretty vulnerable here in the DRS zones, being the only one of the 3 without DRS. Let's see how they handle it. As we have the battle for P4 just as good as the battle for P1, with Oisin doing his best to overtake Evan, but we'll switch back to the lead now for the DRS zone and on the straight. Niels having a bit of a rear slap, and let's see Troy using all of his ERS. Niels Hendrick defending the inside line. But the soft runner of Troy. They touch, and Troy has spun it around after a slight touch from Hendrick. That is going to be a bit controversial. I don't want to appoint blame right now. We can talk about that later. Maybe in an interview.
Josh just hit a 360.
Josh has spun around, you say?
He hit a 360.
And now Troy has also lost P3 to the Ferrari of Evan and Oisin in front with the softs. The lead now between Jack and Niels Hendrick. less DRS zone. The Red Bull with a 7/10 advantage going into the last sector. Seems like he's got it in the bag as Niels Hendrick spins on the last pretty much the last sector, just missing the chicane. As Evan gonna attack now? Those very hot tires on the AlphaTauri will not give him a lot of traction on the exit. Let's see if Evan makes an attack on the Dutch driver. Not enough. So Jack wins, Niels Hendrik second, Evan third, Oysen fourth, Troy fifth, Josh sixth, Itchukster seventh, Jetpack eighth, and then we have KB in the Ferrari coming in ninth, Tibbs coming in 10th. Oh my, okay, he DNF'd after the finish line, all good. And then the two Mercedes boys in P11 and P12 with the DNF'd Haas having to watch from the pit lane. Well, we had one controversial moment with the AlphaTauri and the Haas having a bit of a moment into turn one, the Haas coming off worse with a spin, but then the AlphaTauri also coming off bad, but by himself with a spin on, I don't know what, 3, 4, 5 corners to go, but still coming in second. Okay, whew, that was a bit of a hectic end. Who's your driver of the day, Dave?
My driver of the day. There's been some good fighting across the grid. I don't really know.
Well, I can tell you, man, I think it's gonna be Jack. He did well on strategy. He did well to stay in front of Niels. He did well to not spin like his nearest rivals, Niels and Troy. He made the right decisions. We have Troy picking up the 1 point for fastest lap of the race. Yeah, congrats to the British Red Bull driver, Jack. Starting on pole. Not really pole, the restart pole. Also, a pretty good race by Niels Hendrik, though. AlphaTauri having a pretty good race here.
Sorry, I'm here now.
Oysen also a bit lucky with the restart because his first race was not good with the drive-through, the spins, coming in fourth for McLaren after starting this restart in 11th. Pretty good race from him, too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you want to invite Jack for a quick interview?
Mm-hmm.
All right, as we await Jack joining the party. Jack, firstly, congratulations on the win. Good driving there.
Thank you.
Just tell us a bit how it went, how difficult it was.
Well, at the start of the race, I got a bad start, so I got overtaken by Evan, so that was a bit of extra work. Mine and Troyer's Wi-Fi didn't work together, so when Evan crashed out or whatever happened to him, safety car came out and we hit. But then when it restarted, I just kept first position for, I think it was the whole race apart from one lap. But the battles with Neil were really fun. It was a really tense race.
Yeah. How difficult was it to decide whether to pit under that virtual safety car, or were you already past the pit lane when it came out?
Well, we knew we'd be on the same tyres as Troyer, so that would hurt us later on in the race because we'd be on like 60% tyres, say, and Troyer would be on fresh mediums, so it wouldn't be worth to pit at all.
Yeah. How difficult? Because we noticed that when you and Niels were trying to pull that gap out. You didn't really fight until Troy caught up to you. Was that good, or do you think he just wasn't fast enough?
No, Niels was definitely. We were both pushing each other. We used a lot of our ERS, but we were pushing each other away from Troyer towards Troyer before he pitted, and I think that saved our race because he was much faster than us in those final laps.
Yeah.
So it was just good, not teamwork, but like working together. If you know what I mean.
Fair enough. Dave, any questions for the winner?
Nope, great race, mate. Absolutely stonking race. Did everything you needed to do. Did it all right.
Thank you for the comms.
All right, Jack. What are we thinking about the second half of the season?
Well, Red Bull aren't doing too well in the constructors right now, so I'm just looking at working together with Aiden. I know him from other leagues, and I know that he's capable of challenging for wins in this division. We've seen it in the other two divisions, and I'm sure we can. We're aiming for that P2 spot, if not P1, depending on what happens to Haas. But,
all right.
The tracks suit me, so hopefully it'll be good.
Yeah, looking forward to your home race when FP restarts on the 24th of September for the sprint race.
Yeah, it's a sprint race, so it's twice the fun, and I really enjoyed it at Baku. I didn't finish the race, but
Excuse me, what did
it
you
was
say?
fun having a short sprint, just like we had today, where it was pretty much 15 qualifying laps in a row.
Did you
All
say
right, Jack.
the forsaken word?
Baku. Well, Jack, all the best. We'll see you then on the 24th of September for your home race in Great Britain, Silverstone. Congratulations on the win again, and yeah, have a good one.
Thank you for the comms, Cameron and Phil.
Cheers.
I'll see you next time. Bye.
See you next time. Well, dear viewers, there's still 10 of you here. Thanks for tuning in for this special race for us. We did have a restart. We managed to keep it going still. The Red Bull won, the AlphaTauri came second, and Evan came third. Well, we're now on the break week. If you still want to stay with us next week, we're going to have Formula Virtual World Cup on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. If you want, tune in here on Twitch on our channel, and we will see you next time. Dave, have a good one too. Thanks for joining me here in the comments box.
Thank you, Phil. You as well. Thank you, everyone. Have a great one.
You too.